Robin, some of the things that we've read, that he's hit you, that he's chased you and your mother around in Russia, that Mike has a very volatile temper. True?
Extremely volatile temper. I think people see that about every 3 months. He's got a side to him that's scary. Michael is intimidating, to say the least. I think that there's a time when he cannot control his temper, and that's frightening to me or to my mother, and to anyone around. It's scary.
What happens?
He gets out of control, throwing, screaming.
Does he hit you?
He shakes, he pushes, he swings. Sometimes I think he's trying to scare me. There were times when it happened when I thought I could handle it, you know. And just recently I've become afraid. I mean, very, very much afraid. For instance, Russia, I was afraid. And my mom and I are in the lobby of a hotel, and I said, what are we doing?
What was happening?
He was out of control.
Chasing after you in the lobby?
Yeah, Michael is a manic depressive. He is. I mean, that's just a fact. And when he's in a manic state, he doesn't sleep. He has enormous amounts of energy. So your sleeping agitates him. He gets you up. There's an argument. I mean, of course you want to sleep.
So you run out of the room and he runs after you.
Right.
And people see this, and it's in the paper.
Right.
You know, I wanted to do this interview with the two of you together. I could have talked to Robin outside and you outside, but I wanted you to hear this because I wanted people to understand. And you're sitting here and listening to this.
I think what happens sometimes, I think for the first time I can understand abused women, because what happens is, or people, you know, you say, why do you stay in there? Well, number one, you love the person, and number two, you get accustomed to being treated poorly. So every day, behavior that you would normally not accept becomes everyday behavior. And I woke up and I said, I don't deserve this. I never had this in my life before, and I'm not going to tolerate this.
Where were you?
I was in New York, in our apartment in New York. Michael was in upstate New York where he trains. And I think for the first time he detected something different in my voice. I wasn't screaming. I was serious and to the point. And he worried, and that bothered him. And he kept calling. All throughout the night, he would call and wake me up. Do you love me? Are you sure you love me? Finally, it was about 11 o'clock. He called me and said that he loved me and he was going to prove his love and to call back at 11:20. I knew right away what Michael was going to do. It's something that he had been threatening to do. We had seen that side. I tried to get him to hang on, and I couldn't. I rushed into the room. I told Mom. At 11:15, I called, and the ambulance was on its way. To tell you the truth, they told me he was in a car. It was a great deal of relief.
What had you thought?
I thought that I knew that he had guns, or I knew that he'd been trying to get guns, and I thought that maybe he was going to be a little bit more deliberate.
So that you'd feel sorry?
Yes, yeah. So I was actually relieved. Got in a car and went there, and I was angry. I was very, very angry. With the type of disease that Michael has, he was a hyperactive child. It turned into something else. It's something that he's had for a very long time. It went untreated, therefore it got worse. It's something that the doctor says gets worse in your 20s.
Why do you think this is that nobody saw it before? The 𝗕𝗚𝗎𝗓𝗓 didn't see it, the Bill Caton didn't see it.
I can't imagine that anyone could live with Mike Tyson and not recognize that there was a problem. Let me say this. I mean, there are times when Michael is manic and he's incredibly abusive. Not physically, mentally, verbally abusive. I can't imagine that anyone would live with Mike Tyson, the one that I know, the one that I see, and not recognize that there's a problem. There's no possible way. Hitting teachers, hitting girls and pulling them into a bathroom. You cannot just, it's not a bad boy when they occur too often.
So why wasn't it treated?
Because I think he did very well in the ring. I think he did exceptionally well in the ring.